Russian Navy, who also led a brigade fighting against Ukraine, has been killed in Russia's Kursk region, as per Governor Oleg Kozemyakov. According to reports, Gudkov had been killed along with 10 other servicemen in a Ukrainian attack on a command post in Korenevo in the Kursk region, which borders Ukraine. Reportedly, he is one of the most senior Russian military officers to have been killed by Ukraine since the conflict began in 2022. Gudkov had received awards for bravery in military action against Ukraine and been accused by Kyiv of war crimes. The Russian governor also said in a statement that Gudkov had been killed while carrying out his duty as an officer, along with others, and expressed his condolences to the dead man's relatives. Meanwhile, people have brought flowers to make a makeshift memorial in the Russian city of Vladivostok for the Russian general. In a related development, the death toll has increased to at least 6 wounded after a Russian strike was reported in Odessa. Now we are going back to our discussion with Ruben Johnson. He's director at Asia Research Center at the Casimir Pulaski Foundation. Thank you, Ruben, for staying with us. Now, how serious a blow is it that Russian major generals and ground operations, and does it indicate a growing vulnerability of high-ranking officers to Ukrainian long-range strikes?
The Ukrainians have been fairly proficient at killing high-ranking Russian officers. There's a fairly sizable number of them. This has been going on almost since the war began, or at least since they started receiving the HIMARS systems. And it just shows that, number one, the Russians are still not being terribly careful about how and where they place their headquarters elements. It also shows that the Ukrainians have very, very accurate, in-depth intelligence on where the different command nodes are and where critical targets are. And it shows, as we keep saying over and over and over, when the Ukrainians are conducting these strikes and they are having these successes, they are hitting military targets. They're hitting air bases, they're hitting facilities that support the war, they're hitting command units. They are hitting military targets that are usually staffed by military personnel or personnel supporting military operations. Ukrainians do not indiscriminately fire into Russian population centers, but that's what the Russians are doing every single day. The number of people that have died is it's absolutely unimaginable. And April of this year, April in Ukraine was the deadliest month of the war for children. More children killed in April in Ukraine than any other previous month. And this continues to accelerate, and it continues to go on, and yet the UN is silent, and the leaders of the BRICS countries, including your Mr. Modi, continue to greet Mr. Putin with bear hugs in public ceremonies when he shows up. Here's India, a country which has always prided itself on supporting the values of non-alignment and anti-imperialism and democracy, is greeting one leader in the world who's the biggest imperialist, the most heavily aligned against the West, and the most anti-democratic dictator that we've got in modern times.
Thank you very much, Ruben Johnson, for joining us